Hi YouTube. I haven't made any videos for a while about gang stalking and about what's been happening to me. A few years ago, this is about 2014, I got quite poorly actually, and so making videos is quite a bit of work, and obviously I wasn't going out as much either, so there wasn't really much to record. But I was journaling, I was writing a lot in my journals, and so I thought I'd make some videos based on these journals. That's reading journal entries out. And I got this idea because I watched a video by someone on YouTube who had done a video about narcissism and the narcissists she had met in her life. And the video made me, well, I felt for her, but it also kind of comforted me because her story was so similar to my own in many ways. The only difference being that I don't think she would class herself as a targeted individual. I think she sees that stuff as a bit weird and conspiracy theory sort of thing. But because I enjoyed the video so much, I thought people might like to hear some of my stories from my diaries, and there's a lot of them. So, but I thought what I would do is I would start off with a journal entry from now, like that would be either today's or the previous days, so that you know what's going on in my life. And then I would read something from one of my journals that I've written over the years. I mean, I thought I would start back with the first diary that I wrote, which was in 2014, and then gradually work my way forward. So I don't know how long that will take me, actually. If you could see all the diaries I've got laid out on my phone, that's quite a lot. But obviously I'm only going to do it if people want to watch and listen. So I'm not very good at reading stuff though, not reading stuff aloud, because I don't know, my voice isn't very strong, and people have said that to me before, that I don't speak very loudly and I mumble a bit. So, but I'm going to try my best, and we'll see. So this is today's entry actually. This happened today, so this is the 9th of June 2017, Friday. Okay. I felt pretty awful this morning, tired and headachy. I have chronic fatigue. The carer didn't come till 11:30. They're supposed to come at 10 o'clock. Pauline, the carer, made lots of excuses. There were lots of people off, the rotas and routes were being changed, the girl who was supposed to be coming was running late, the usual stuff. Seems like the last chat I had with her about secret societies and groups who infiltrate organisations to harass individuals like myself has had little impact. What she doesn't seem to get is that I know what she's telling me is lies. Otherwise she wouldn't keep repeating it. I'd love to know what they tell these people to get them to give up their own minds and to follow them. Maybe it's that she just doesn't believe these people she's associated with are doing the things I'm saying they're doing. Still, everybody has a conscience, an inner knowing that tells them what's right and what's wrong, and she and the others should know what they're doing is wrong. Despite feeling so bad, I got up and tried to do a few things. Get active. Sometimes if I move about, after a while I start to feel a bit better. A moving target is harder to hit, so they say. I'm going over my diaries again, wondering where to start and what would actually interest people. I started journaling in 2014 when I moved in with my dad. I had been living on my own in Devon, but I gradually began to feel so ill and tired I felt I couldn't manage on my own. At the time I didn't know I had been diagnosed with chronic fatigue or anything else, and so I didn't realise I should have been receiving help. It was only after several stays in hospital and demanding to see a social worker that I managed to get some assistance. I believe I am being targeted with some kind of electromagnetic weapon, and this is what is creating these symptoms. I've made a few videos since moving up here, but getting ill made making videos difficult as there's a lot of work involved, so I started journaling instead. I've been doing it for about 3 years. I wanted there to be some kind of record if something happened to me. It's turning out to be more work than I anticipated, as I don't just write about the harassment, but other things too. When I say it's turning out to be more work than I thought, I mean actually making this video, because I thought this would be quite easy to do, just to sit and read out stuff, but no, it's like lighting and the camera and anyway. So I'm going to have to go through each entry and see what's relevant. I think I will start each video with an entry from my diary for that day, or the day before, so people know what's going on in my life now, and then record an entry from the past. It is interesting reading back and seeing how I've changed. I look back and I wonder how I could have thought moving back in with my dad would be a good idea, after the way my family treated me. How I could consider putting up with that kind of belittling and criticism again, I don't know. I suppose there was still a part of me that wanted and believed they could change, that they might love me. Really, I'm much better on my own. I'm sitting here and tuning into how I'm feeling, and despite the discomfort of feeling unwell and the emotional pain that sometimes comes up, there is a part of me that feels quite serene, peaceful, happy even, happy in my own space. It's 8:30 in the evening, and no carer. My call is supposed to be 7 o'clock. Pauline always comes on a Friday evening, but when I checked with her this morning, she said I wasn't on her rota. I tried to get out of her who would be coming, but she said she didn't know. I think I'm going to keep a timetable of what time the carers come, that I can pass on to social services, so they can see how much these people are pissing me about. I tried using my meditation technique to see if someone was coming. When I get messages from Spirit, I close my eyes and look straight ahead into the darkness, and usually images will appear that I can interpret. But when I pose the question, is someone coming, nothing happened. Well, I did see something, a spider. Looking up spider on dreammoods.com, it says, to see a spider indicates that you are feeling like an outsider in some situation. Spiders may indicate a feeling of being entangled or trapped in a sticky or clingy relationship. It represents some ensnaring and controlling force. You feel that someone or some situation is sucking the life right out of you. Well, that's an accurate description of my situation, even if it didn't tell me whether I would be having a call tonight. I could call them up, I used to do that. Right now, though, I feel like just ignoring them. I went to Morrison's earlier to get some groceries. A guy on a motorbike in black and white leather gear appeared several times. He passed me at the mini roundabout in front of Morrison's, and twice on Wheel Lane. I was passed by a motorbike a couple of more times, but I was trying to ignore them and not look at them, so I didn't see if it was the same guy. But I think I will start taking my camera out again. And that's today's entry. Hi, I'm back. My hair's a bit different because this is the next day. So this is a journal entry from 3 years, 3 years ago, and the date is the 9th of April 2014, and it's Wednesday. I'm reading a book, Heal Yourself, by Anne Jones. One of the exercises is to list inherited family traits that might be blocking your progress. I skipped over this, thinking I had none, and thinking I'd overcome all my family issues. I did though, do a short meditation asking what blocks I had. I got an image of a judge's wig. This is an old issue with me. I know I am critical and judgmental of myself and others. I stayed with the image for a few minutes and then tried to imagine what being uncritical would feel like. I could feel energy shifting in my head and then the sensation of something thick running down my throat. After that, I thought I had dealt with the image. But later, I'm sitting in my car and I tune into my thoughts to watch, to see how I'm doing on the critical thoughts. Sadly, I realised that nearly all the thoughts I'd just had were critical of something. I went back to thinking about my family issues. I've always put critical thinking down to being a Virgo, but when I think of my conversations with my mother, I've realised they were always critical of something or someone. She loved talking down other people. I don't know how self-critical she was. Not much, I think, as she always tended to blame others for how she felt. I think I could have inherited then this critical stance towards others from my mother. This was a revelation for me, as I thought I had managed to avoid the negative traps of parental conditioning. This is a footnote, so this is me commenting on my journal from now. Thinking about it now, the critical thoughts I have about myself, never being good enough, and not appreciating things I do achieve, I think this may have been because this is how my parents treated me. We tend to treat ourselves the way our parents treated us. Now, of course, I realise the criticism wasn't because I hadn't achieved what I should have, but that I was never going to be allowed to reach that benchmark of being acceptable, because the goalposts would just keep being moved. So really, these two traits, that's being critical of yourself and being critical of others, have slightly different roots. I thought I would go into some of what my childhood was like here, because it's all relevant. For most of my life, I thought my emotionally abusive childhood and my later experiences in life were unrelated, but now I see that it was all connected, that what is happening to me now was happening to me then as well. This took a long time to realise, because it's so hard for us to believe people would behave this way, even towards their own family, but unfortunately they do. This is a very recent realisation, but you will see why I came to this conclusion if I carry on with these blogs. And going back to the original journal entry, I was bullied a lot when I was younger, both at school and at home, so I had no sanctuary anywhere really, except a tree at the end of our garden which I would climb and sit in to get away from everything. Mostly I got teased about my size. I'm very petite. Even as a sixth former, most of the first years were taller than me. I also have high-functioning autism. I didn't get a diagnosis till I was an adult, till I was 36, so I had a lot of difficulties socially and just doing normal daily tasks, and this is where my family criticised me, as if I was just being this way on purpose. Being autistic also made me an easy target for others. It takes me longer to work out what someone has really meant and said if they are talking in innuendos or using sarcasm, and often I don't realise I've been insulted until the other person has walked away. Then I can feel very angry, because I don't have the opportunity to say my piece. I will feel something is wrong about what they have just said, but I won't always see it until I've thought about it for a bit. This leads people to think I don't realise what's going on, and what they're up to, if only they could see the thoughts I really have. I've recently moved back home with my dad, because of emotional and health problems. My youngest sister is 12 and also lives with my dad. She has decided it would be fun to make life difficult for me. She has always been a difficult child, demanding constant attention, wanting to be in charge, and to make everyone her servant. Okay, this is another footnote from now. I'm glad to say that the last time I saw her, which was at Christmas 2016, she was quite different towards me. There was even some affection. So I don't want people to think I'm still agonising over this. I don't hold it against her. So back to the journal. She did various things, giving me the silent treatment, contradicting everything I said, mimicking my mannerisms. Eventually I began to feel like a bullied child again. I couldn't believe I was being bullied by a 12-year-old, but then she did have the consent and approval of the rest of them. I could sense a feeling of unworthiness creeping up on me. I would be stroking my cat and wonder if he saw me as a lesser person. I had to constantly affirm I was worthy and it was her problem. Sometimes I would repeat to myself, I return these gifts to their owner. That's something I read in a book somewhere. It seemed to work. After a while she stopped it. Not entirely, but I could ignore it when she started playing up. So that's the end of the journal entry for the 9th of April 2014. And yeah, I'll just sign off. So hopefully, don't know, you got something out of that.